Am I here? Is this real, or is this fiction? Presentation, a presentation. After great thought, I pondered on Henry Moore, a great sculpture artist. But then, he didn't really kindle my imagination. So, enough about him. Then I thought, what about this artist? Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol. Well, I know I dislike him immensely. I do and I don't. In fact, this controversial American artist, best known for his pop art, who depicted dollar bills, Coca-Cola bottles, etc., multiple images printed on silkscreen, is best known for declaring that in the future, everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. Anyway, he bores me. Presentation. I don't know. How about abstract art? Jackson Pollock or even Kandinsky? Well, I have this love-hate relationship with abstract art. But realism or abstract art, as long as the art possesses soul, doesn't matter what form or composition. Then I thought, how about today's artists? Sonia Boyce? Yes and no. I take on board what I want or need and disregard the rest. An artist that really touches my insides. Well, how about Bob Marley? There, the guitar is his canvas, the strings his tools, and his words are the sweet strokes coming from his soul. Art has played an essential role in human society since prehistoric times, through ancient and up to modern. Religion has been the main factor. Artists appealed to the senses, informing them, especially in the earlier times when peasants were unable to read, or write, for that matter. Art can impose, make or break ideals, expressing its higher self through its art, where that subtle something distinguishes human from other forms of animal life. Frescoes in the Italian Renaissance. As art is a luxury, sophisticated art depends mainly on wealth. And it was the royalty and wealthy noblemen which made possible the grand productions of the Renaissance artists. Renaissance was a revival of Greek and Roman learning and culture, began in the 1300s and ended in the 1500s. Renaissance artists studied classical art and then took a fresh look with a rapidly expanding world, then created naturalistic detail following the ideals of humanism. Human became the object of intense study. Glorification, harmony, balance, proportion, these became the guiding principle of artistic creation. Man, the measure of all things, clearly seen in the frescoes of the Renaissance. A fresco is likened to a mural, with different qualities, of course. Now, a fresco is Italian for fresh, as the plaster has to be fresh, while the pigments of colour are worked into the fresh plaster. The greatest concentration of frescoes were found in churches, which is why probably most frescoes were religious, depicting Christ, the Virgin, saints. Frescoes often cover the whole church, ceilings, vaults, walls. Highly prized they were, often entrusted to the most popular artists. The growing awareness of nature and preoccupation of the human became an ideal. Excuse me, cigarette. Where the humble kneeling became no more, and the patron himself was placed firmly at the centre of the picture. All in pecking order, of course. Frescoes became the religious rites with the offer of salvation. Some patrons wrote them in their will to be carried out after their death. This to join the ranks of the blessed. Even so, hundreds of patrons lived in fear of damnation. In Naples, which is the birthplace of my parents, I thought I'd add that in, there are 500 churches alone, and in all of them they have grand frescoes. I've chosen an artist, not for any particular reason. Leonardo da Vinci, he was born in 1452. He died in 1519. Leonardo trained under Verrocchio, entered the Painters Guild in 1472. He went to Milan in 1482, where he worked for Ludovico Sforza. There he painted the Great Last Supper. In 1497, in the convent of San Maria della Grazia. This is the only surviving fresco which survived many wars, even when a bomb totally destroyed all the other walls in the convent. The Last Supper was left standing. Leonardo's other great fresco which was painted in Florence, but now sadly lost. He invented a technique called sfumato, gradual shading of tone and colour in painting, so there is no abrupt dividing line. He returned to Milan in 1506 by invitation of King Francis I, who admired him above all other artists, gave him a castle in France. But there you go, his health deteriorated after the journey and he died. He never finished one work for the king, which must have really pissed him off. My closing thoughts on the subject. Although he received no formal education, he was a gentle man and full of intellect, and applied himself to many tasks, not just art, but mathematics, perspective, music, architecture, engineering, and astronomy. Well, as I'm coming to my conclusion, you may ask why. Why don't you show any of his works of the Renaissance or any other artists? Well, simply, I don't want to. You'll have to go to Rome or Naples or even Florence to really feel and understand the magnitude of these great works. You'll have to step foot into one of these churches. Then you'll understand why a photocopy A4 would just be an insult to these great works of art. Is it up? Right. Well, if you understand that, you'll understand anything. So it's either Leonardo da Vinci or the Ninja Turtle. Right. Make me disappear.